Welcome. I'm Elizabeth Gardner. I am the morning meteorologist at WRIL TV, and parks are my favorite place to be. Even more favorite than at work, but don't tell anybody at WRIL. I'm a Raleigh native, and I have grown up at Pullen Park and at Umstead, and since then, so many amazing parks that keep getting built here in Raleigh. Looking out at all of you, I am just so thankful. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so happy for all of the volunteer work that you all do. That's what makes our park so special, and it makes Raleigh such an amazing place. As you all know, we keep having people move here and move here and move here. It's because it's such a fantastic place to be, and our parks are such a huge part of that. I came this afternoon from the City Council work session where Stephen Bentley, Parks and Rec Director, was presenting the new parks that will be built after the bond passed in November, and it was so exciting. 20 new parks, and they're so different. They're greenways, they're community centers, river parks, just so much fun stuff that's coming down the pike. And, you know, we see that, you know, every decade or sooner that Raleigh's committed. Y'all are committed. The voters are committed. People in Raleigh love their parks. And we appreciate you all so, so much. We have such a great program for you tonight. Of course, the Fred Fletcher Awards, named for Fred Fletcher, who has given an amazing amount of time and energy to Raleigh Parks over his lifetime. This is a night where we take time to reflect on how fortunate we are to live in a city like Raleigh that just loves its parks so much. All of you follow the example of Fred Fletcher by giving freely of your time, talents, and resources to make our parks what they are. Let's talk a little bit about Fred. He had a long and productive career in Raleigh, and he took a lot of time to take care of our parks. He was a Parks Board member, forget this, 54 years, and chairman for 40 years, his whole life almost. And today it's estimated that our parks receive more than 4 million visits each year, and that our city is blessed with an average of 10,000 people who annually volunteer their services. So 10,000 of you, and it's great to see all of you tonight who are, of course, the best of the best. This evening, we'll hear from important individuals who have joined us, and then we'll present the awards that you see listed in your program. The ceremony will take about an hour, and will be followed by dessert in the lobby, something to look forward to. But first, it's my pleasure to recognize Councilmember Birch for opening remarks.
Good evening. I am Raleigh City Councilman Corey Branch, your Mayor Pro Tem. No problem, you're fine. You're fine. We got storms in the air, so we're good. But the main thing I want to say is thank you. Thank you to our honorees. Because of the work that you do, because of your contributions, our park system is world class. We have the best park staff in the world. But when you bring on the best volunteers and the best community in the world, no one can beat us. And for us to continue to do that as we move forward year after year, it's going to take even more help, even more volunteers. So I ask that you continue to keep pushing, keep working, helping us find even more volunteers, even more people that may be willing to serve on the Parks Board. Because at some point, some of our Parks members do roll off, and someone needs to roll on. And having someone that understands the system, who's already involved in the system, makes the system even greater. So on behalf of our mayor, our city council, me being a Raleigh native, I say thank you, and let's have a great evening.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Branch. We appreciate it. It's my pleasure to invite Beverly Clark, the chair of the Raleigh Parks, Recreation, and Greenway Advisory Board, to provide your welcome for the evening.
Well, you know, they say that good things come in threes, so I'll be the third person to say thank you, because you all do make what we do happen. It is such a pleasure to recognize and thank all of you truly exceptional volunteers. As advisory board members, we see the hard work of the staff, But tonight, we get to recognize the individuals, the groups who provide your time, your talent, and resources to make the city of Raleigh Parks and Greenways and facilities and programs all better. We have a wide variety of folks who are being honored. We have students who have AP exams tomorrow. We have coaches. We have people who have helped us to honor and name new buildings. And all of you have given selflessly of your time to make the impact in the Raleigh community. Every person here tonight is special, whether you're a recipient, a nominee, and I'm so excited that we get to share with all that are here tonight a little bit about each group. So I also want to recognize the volunteer members of the Raleigh Parks Recreation Greenway Advisory Board. The folks that we have here tonight are Carol Ashcraft, Bob Edgerton, Jeff Havener, Rashawn King, Shangwin Liu, April Love, Chris Piera, Marcia Presnell-Jeanette, Lindsay Saunders, and Kara Strang. We also have 3 members who couldn't make it, but they're equally important: Gregory Etheridge, Van Fletcher, and Hugh Fuller. So I thank all of them for the time that they spend coming to committee meetings and being involved and volunteering too, to be a part of making our park system the best that it can be. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Beverly. And thank you all again for being here tonight. Let's talk a little bit more about Fred Fletcher. We do have a treat for you tonight as well. Fred Fletcher, as we talked about, all the hours and hours that he spent here working on our parks. Obviously, he was a community-spirited man, but we have his son, Bill Fletcher, with us tonight as well. He graduated from Broughton High School and NC State University and enjoyed a 25-year career in marketing and advertising. Today, Bill and his team at Keller Williams Realty are helping people buy and sell real estate. He is also an avid volunteer, does run in the family. He started 2 Boy Scout units, served 18 years on the Wake County Board of Education, and leads an innovative literacy program for K-2 children sponsored by his Rotary Club. I have the honor of been doing this more than once, and Bill has some amazing stories to tell about his dad. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and the board for inviting me again. Let me thank you for the opportunity to share with you a little bit about the person for whom this award is named, my father, Fred Fletcher. No middle name, Fred Fletcher. I try to think about what Dad would do if he were here. First of all, he'd be sure to hug all the women. Then he'd shake hands with everybody because he was afraid he might find a friend here that he had not yet met. Let me say that again. He might find a friend here that he had not yet met. He'd give honor to his wife of 65 years, Margie. He'd be bursting with pride about the park board and park staff for what they do every day for the community he loves. And then he'd start to cry and tell a story. Well, don't hold me to all the facts here, but some of Dad's most enjoyable time were spent fishing. And rather late in life, he decided that the Parks and Recreation Director needed to do something to encourage kids to go fishing. So he called up the Parks and Recreation Director and said, "You need to get some fishing rods. I'll get the worms, and I'll meet you at Shelley Park in 2 weeks." And so a few weeks later, a fishing rod lending program was started at Shelley Park. You've heard that Dad served as parks champion in Raleigh and Wake County for more than 50 years. He also advised 4 governors on recreational needs of North Carolina. When Fred saw a need, he worked to meet that need. He also saw opportunity where others might not. One day he saw a small, overgrown lot downtown. You couldn't build on it. You couldn't even walk on it. Fred saw a park with a basketball goal and a concrete court. And now we have lots of those little pocket parks all over town. Fred also helped to create a vibrant Golden Agers Club in Raleigh. He hosted the annual Christmas dinner and TV broadcasts celebrating our senior citizens for decades. Now, I know that Raleigh PRC invests heavily in programs for citizens of all ages, as Ringling Brothers might say, for children of all ages. But I must tell you that I particularly appreciate programs embracing the youth of our community, for they are our future. I know after my 18 years on the school board that many children at risk of school failure are at risk of life failure without a caring and supportive community. You see, we share many of these precious children, and while schools teach them to think, you volunteers work diligently with them to teach teamwork, commitment, self-respect, dependability, sportsmanship, and responsibility. And while I know a lot about them, you actually get to know them by their faces and their names. You get to connect with them. Before Dad passed away, he had been invited to speak at a luncheon on volunteerism. Whenever I visited his apartment, there were slips of paper everywhere with little notes to himself. He had called Dean Smith and Bill Friday and Jim Hunt and asked them about their thoughts, why be a volunteer? Unfortunately, he was not able to make that speech, but I hope to share with you the essence of what he might have said. Volunteers are special people. Volunteers are lifters, carrying the load for some loafers out there. But you also know that a volunteer never asks, what's in this for me? A volunteer doesn't start out to gain glory. A true volunteer does what he or she can to make a difference in someone else's life. There's no thought of personal gain, and often there is what outsiders would call great personal sacrifice of time and finances, because one chooses to give of himself or herself. The reality is that volunteers are actually our greatest leaders. They may never be out front or have a big title, but by their actions and commitment, they demonstrate amazing feats of leadership and some of the greatest human values. The Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Department alone could not provide the services they do. If they paid staff to provide direct services to youth without volunteers, less than 1 child in 20 would be served. You see, it is you volunteers who make it work. It is you who create our community. It's you who give us the unequaled quality of life that we all enjoy. The author, Anonymous, was one of Dad's favorite. His contribution will set the stage for the balance of the evening. It isn't enough to say in our hearts that we like a man or woman for his ways. It isn't enough that we fill our minds with abundant, silent praise. Nor is it enough that we honor a man as our confidence upward mounts. It's going right up to the man himself and telling him or her that counts. So tonight, we're here tonight to recognize men, women, children, and organizations and say thank you to you and to your family and friends, to your employers who enable you to give so much. And in this small way, we want to say, and Fred Fletcher wants to say, well done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bill. Always wonderful to have you here to share those stories of your dad. Amazing. I want to call up Lindsay Saunders, chair of the Fred Fletcher Awards Committee, to help us recognize some of the special individuals and groups that have joined us here tonight. Lindsay?
Good evening. Raleigh Parks Recreation and Cultural Resources volunteers have been honored in this fashion since 1996. A total of 385 individuals or organizations have been recognized since then. This year, we are recognizing 16 award winners in 14 different categories. There are so many outstanding volunteers, and we had the difficult task of selecting this year's winners. All 2023 nominees have received a certificate with our sincere thanks for all that you do. Would all the volunteers who were nominated for a Fred Fletcher Award this year, and this includes our award winners, please stand so that we may recognize you with a round of applause? Thank you to each of you for your service. I would like to thank the Fletcher Committee, which has helped us plan for this year's awards program. My fellow Parks Board members, please stand. Jeff Havner, Rashawn King, April Love, Chris Pereira, Marcia Presnell-Jeanette, and Kara Strang. These individuals, along with many others, have pulled together this wonderful program for you this evening. We're excited to celebrate you. At this time, I invite our Parks Board Chair, Beverly Clark, to come to the table to assist me with presenting the awards.
And now it is time, drum roll, please, for our awards presentation. For those of you receiving awards tonight, when your award is being introduced by one of our presenters, please come forward and join us on the stage. There are stairs on either side. Come join us beside the podium, along with the person who nominated you for your award. Each winner will receive an engraved award, and individual winners will also receive a green jacket, symbolic of the one that Fred Fletcher wore whenever he was volunteering for the city of Raleigh. Please wear it proudly as you continue to help make Raleigh Parks a shining asset for our city. Our first award this evening is the Harvey Carcevar Award. This is presented to an outstanding youth basketball coach who follows in the footsteps of Mr. Carcevar. Will Jason Clemens please come forward to present this award?
All right, it's no secret that I get nervous when I do these things, but at least I'm going first, so I guess that's the way the coin flips sometimes. I want to take the time and thank our city leaders, our city management team for allowing the athletics program to present one of our outstanding youth basketball coaches the 2023 Harvey Carcevar Award. I also want to thank all of our youth coaches, regardless of the sport, for their service and dedication to our sport leagues throughout the year. Mrs. Carcevar, who is unable to attend this evening, also sends her love and appreciation to our award recipient, as well as those that have worked so hard to put this event together again this year. The Harvey Carcevar Award is an annual acknowledgement given to one individual basketball coach that exhibits the ability to promote passion, integrity, and positive life skill development to his or her players, coaches, parents throughout the season. This award derived from the legacy left by the late Harvey Carcevar, who became one of our program's most admired and dedicated coaches. Coach Carcevar will often go above and beyond to assist his players with developing the knowledge and skills they could use on and off the court. Furthermore, his coaching style exemplified what our staff envisions all of our coaches to be within our athletic program. This year's 2023 Harvey Carcevar Award recipient is Coach Grady Johnson. All right. Coach Johnson has coached youth basketball amongst other sports for over 15 years. However, during the last 5 years, Coach Johnson has served as the head coach of the city's junior boys and senior boys basketball leagues. During his tenure as a basketball coach, I have personally had the opportunity to witness Coach Johnson's professionalism, attention to detail, and overall positive demeanor in his interactions with athletes, officials, and game day staff. I can't tell you how refreshing it is to present a concern to a coach about a particular situation and know that before I hang up the phone, Coach already has it handled. But that's the kind of person that Coach Johnson has shown me to be, professional, detailed, and positive. Coach Johnson's commitment to making every season a positive, fun, and uplifting experience for his team is one of the more unique aspects of his coaching philosophy. Coach Johnson believes that team success is not measured by the number of wins that a team achieves, but by the life lessons shared through the team's interactions and practices and games. Coach's step-by-step approach to building team unity and team success can be summed up by his belief to do the simple things better and focus on the major things later. Through his coaching, he never underestimates all the lives he can touch through his prior playing and coaching experiences throughout sports. It can often be said that a coach's shared wisdom about life can be more impactful than any in-game strategy. That is why when Coach can spread his knowledge to the next generation of athletes, he will always do so. Coach lives by the motto of show me your friends and it will show me where you are going. Coach K, the former basketball coach at Duke University, said after his final game, albeit a loss to Carolina, that a dedication to coaching cannot be done without the support of the family. So in addition to thanking Coach Johnson for his service to our basketball program, I would also like to thank his wife, Wendy, and his two children, Jeremiah and Naomi, for their supporting him in his coaching commitment. And with that, I would like to present Coach Grady Johnson the 2023 Harvey Carcevar Award for Outstanding Basketball Coach.
Our next award this evening is Outstanding Athletic Volunteer. This is presented to an individual or group who demonstrates a high degree of personal commitment needed to organize, teach, instill good sportsmanship, and enhance our athletic program. Will Jeff Havener please come forward to present this award? And as soon as Jeff says your name, come right up here. Jeff?
Good evening. I have the privilege of introducing Bob Franks, Colby Freeman, and Brian Cox, also known as Triple Play, as this year's Outstanding Athletic Volunteers. This threesome came together by chance when their sons were first teamed together. They've stayed together through the seasons as a coaching unit, rotating responsibilities between them, sharing the load, and keeping the message fresh with their players. Playing games at Buffalo Road or Cedar Hills, the focus on was putting into work, supporting teammates, and steady improvement, with their success being measured by the kids having fun and wanting to play again next season. They've asked me to convey their thanks to the City of Raleigh Parks Department, and specifically Ryan Ryba, for everything that's been done to support them with equipment, facilities, and officiating. Congratulations and thank you, Bob, Colby, and Brian.
The next award, Outstanding Financial Contributor, is presented to an organization or individual that's made a significant monetary or in-kind donation to the department. This award will be presented by Chris Pereira.
Good evening. I have the pleasure of presenting the Fletcher Award for Outstanding Financial Contributor to Anthony Lucas. There's a well-known proverb that says, it takes a village to raise a child. I'll mention this village mentality a few times tonight, but I start with it because it was one of the first things Mr. Lucas mentioned when I first spoke to him. The saying refers to strong communities and the mindset required to maintain them. We are honoring Mr. Lucas tonight officially for his generous support of Lions Park and Lions Park Community Center, to which he provided an in-kind donation of 10 golden MacBooks. Unofficially, we honor him for rekindling the flame of the village mindset. I said golden MacBooks. They're literally gold-colored because Mr. Lucas wanted the children at the community center to use them to know that their future is bright. That is the village mentality. Mr. Lucas learned that mentality firsthand. He grew up across the street from Lions Park and spent his childhood in and around it. He remembers all the good times he had there with his parents, his grandmother, and with his friends in that park. He remembers the adults from the community providing opportunities for him and his peers he wouldn't have otherwise had. He's coached numerous youth teams in the park's ball fields. Now he's provided golden opportunities for the children of his community to work and play with their generation, to become digitally literate, and to avoid falling behind in a high-tech world. He's paying forward the advantages and support that he had to make sure that this next generation can be fully equipped citizens in this global village. It started with a vision that he had and shared with his late wife. After her passing, he worked to implement it, knowing that he had her blessing. Despite his contribution, Mr. Lucas is not a man rich in material things, but he's rich in faith, he's rich in family, and now his community is richer in quality because of him. Anthony Lucas.
The next award is Outstanding Greenway Volunteer. This award is presented to a group or individual that has consistently demonstrated devotion to the care and enhancement of the capital area greenway system. Will Carol Ashcraft please come forward to present this award?
Hello. Remember the beginning of the pandemic? We were all in a... Oh, thank you. We don't want to think about the pandemic, do we? Oh, thank you. I'm vertically challenged, I suppose. Back in the beginning of the pandemic, we were all sitting around. Well, Gus Van der Meren was doing the same thing. He was trapped in the house. He was feeling, quote, disgusted with myself. And as many of us did, he was gaining weight and getting depressed. One day he walked around the neighborhood and began picking up trash. He began cleaning up the greenways. He joined the city's Adopt a Trail program, not necessarily in that order. He saw one of our state's Adopt a Road signs and began cleaning up the highways. Gus found his depression fading. He began losing weight. I think I said that already. Okay, when I first talked to him back in March of this year, he had collected more than 5,000 large bags of trash. And this does not include the very large items such as mattresses, trailers, tires, and other things that people throw out. In the picture he sent me today, he had collected, I saw, 4 gigantic orange bags of trash, 2 chairs, one of them disassembled, a child's large plastic toy car, and assorted unidentifiable parts too big to go in the car, in the bag. I couldn't figure out what they were. I'm sure some of you could. I have to tell you right now that Gus is a man with a job, and he still volunteers like this. Since then, he has collected, this is since March, he has collected more than 5,200 bags. Again, not including all the other stuff that he pulls out. What makes a man so dedicated that he will keep picking up other people's trash, even when he goes back and finds out other people have also trashed it? Knowing I made it a little bit better for others, a little prettier, when it's in a place that's trashed, is rewarding, he said. He said he saved a lot of trash from ending up in the ocean, which, as you know, kills wildlife. This is good news. Gus says that's the real world. The real world is that people are good and kind. He said no one he ever asked to help has said no. Gus's Greenway maintenance supervisor says he also provides notification of when he will schedule a garbage pickup, whether there are dangers on the trails or when there are other places that should be cleaned up. He was even recognized by the governor for his highway cleanups. and he was in a WRAL TV feature once with other volunteers. Now he will receive what I think is one of the greatest awards possible, a Fred Fletcher Outstanding Greenway Volunteer Award.
Our outstanding Adopt a Park volunteer is presented to an individual or organization that has consistently gone above and beyond the call of duty for a specific park as a leader in the city's Adopt a Park program. Will Chris Pereira please come forward to present this award?
Good evening again. This time I have the pleasure of presenting the Fletcher Award for Outstanding Adopt a Park Volunteers to the men of Southeast Raleigh. For anyone who has been around John Chavis Park, the park that they adopted, or been to any kind of special event in Southeast Raleigh that relies on volunteers, they're likely a familiar sight already. With their blue and gold hats and shirts emblazoned with their slogan, Think Again. While they formed less than 2 years ago, they've already made an outsized impact across the entire city, serving as models for other groups in our city. I mentioned the village mentality earlier tonight. Well, this is a group that exemplifies that concept. Just like when I spoke with Anthony Lucas, that mentality was immediately brought up when I spoke with this group. It's in the materials that they share with potential new members, their many partner groups. It shapes their thinking and was a prime reason they adopted Chavis Park, the park that they grew up around. John Chavis Park is in the southeast part of our city. It's a beautiful, shiny park, and it's also a great park. It's shiny now because the city has put a lot of money into it. It hasn't always been shiny, and it hasn't always gotten a lot of attention from the city, but it's always been great. Its greatness comes from the people who lived around it and go there, the community who calls it their own. It's great because of Southeast Raleigh. Southeast Raleigh has its own unique history. It was cut off from the rest of our city through segregation and was essentially a village within a city, its residents forced to rely on each other. They did so, and it made them tight-knit and strong. The men of Southeast Raleigh wear the colors blue and gold. Those are the colors of Ligon High School. If you haven't heard of Ligon, it's because when segregation ended, so too did Ligon. But it lives on in the memory of the village and in the hearts and minds of the community of Southeast Raleigh. It reminds folks of a time when they had to rely on each other, and they're stronger now because of it. Now this group seeks to pass that mentality on to the next generation so that it too can be strong. Like their motto, think again. Think, then think again. Because you're not just thinking for yourself, you're thinking for the whole village. It's no coincidence that the village mentality came up in 2 separate conversations that I had weeks apart. I think the reason is because it's more than an idea or theory. It's a true reflection of how successful communities operate. Successive generations are linked forward and back, to the past and to the future. However, it doesn't happen automatically. Fortunately, we have people dedicated to making it happen. Tonight is a celebration of them, the leaders of our village, and our village is lucky to have the men of Southeast Raleigh.
The Outstanding Adult Program Volunteer is presented to a group or individual that demonstrates a high commitment and efforts to the enhancement of the adult program. Will Kara Strang please come forward to present this award?
Hello. I have the pleasure of introducing Lauren Lewin, the Outstanding Adult Program Volunteer of the Year, who is being recognized for her work with the Go-Getters Club. After being laid off from Nortel in 2001, Lauren decided to begin volunteering. She started with 2 nursing homes in Raleigh, playing games and visiting with residents in the evenings, and this led her to the Parks Department, where she became certified as a fitness instructor, started teaching classes, and eventually got hired to manage the Golden Years Senior Clubs in 2003. Though managing the clubs was initially a paid position, the city eventually transitioned ownership of the program to the groups themselves. Lauren was concerned that the club might dissolve without support, so she stayed on as a volunteer. The current day Go-Getters are 36 members strong, composed of folks in their mid-60s to early 90s, and believe me when I tell you, they stay busy. Lauren organizes trips on the 2nd and 4th Thursday of each month from September through May. She knows where to go for the best tea room experience, Mrs. Lacey's Magnolia House, where to feed giraffes, the Aloha Safari Zoo, and where you get to try out a machine that manually crushes apples during apple season, and that's at Millstone Creek Orchard, so I'm giving away all your secrets, Lauren. Lauren also plans 1 mystery trip per year, surprising the members and challenging them to try something they might not have initially been excited about, like an escape room. Her favorite event of the year is the Golden Years Christmas Party hosted by the City of Raleigh and WRAL. All active members are picked up by charter bus and brought to the convention center for breakfast, dancing, entertainment, and more. Everyone is dressed to the hilt and gets to go home with a poinsettia. It's a blast. Lauren enjoys organizing these events because the club does so much good for its members. Becoming a part of the Go-Getters helps people to make friends and provides a sense of community and connection that goes even beyond the club. She also finds it rewarding because she learns so much about and from the members. She especially enjoys hearing about what they did in life before they were retired. Please join me in thanking Lauren for her volunteerism and congratulating her on achieving this honor.
The Outstanding Specialized Recreation Program Volunteer Award is presented to an individual that demonstrates a high degree of commitment to the enhancement of the Specialized Recreation and Inclusion Services Program. And we're going to bring Kara Strang back up for this one, too.
Okay. When I spoke with Bill about this award, he told me that he has never gone into a volunteer activity with the mindset of, we're just here to have some fun. Bill thinks that volunteer work is just that, it's work. He believes wholeheartedly in the importance of volunteer work and sees it as his job to make sure the participants are the ones having fun and that the event goes off without a hitch. Bill's volunteer resume is pretty impressive. We're here tonight to celebrate his contributions to the Wake County Special Olympics golf team, but I'd like to share with you some of his history so you can appreciate the full extent of his impact. While in college at UConn, Bill went with a friend to volunteer at dances for the residents of the Mansfield Training School and Hospital, a home for those with developmental disabilities. He said helping at those dances, where disco was alive and well on Thursday nights, planted the seeds for the volunteer work he would do later in life. As his career moved across the country, so did Bill's volunteer schedule. In Dallas, he volunteered at a nursing home and with the Big Brothers Big Sisters. Upon moving to North Carolina, he volunteered with Habitat for Humanity for 25 years, specializing in ladder and roof work until the pandemic hit. He also volunteered at a soup kitchen 1 day a week and as a catcher on a softball team for the visually impaired for 9 years each. And then, of course, there's the Special Olympics. The seed that was planted while Bill was in college is now a full-blown tree. Bill has been volunteering with the Special Olympics for over 20 years. He enjoys the hands-on aspect of teaching the athletes, but he does whatever the organization needs, like joining the games management team and doing logistics for statewide events. He teaches skiing and snowboarding for the Winter Games and recently started helping coach the golf team for the Summer Games. He said he has been surprised many times by how dedicated the athletes are and how they just do not give up, even when brought outside of their comfort zones. When I asked Bill how he's managed to do all of this, he said, "One of my favorite quotes is that you have time for what's important. Everybody has a different definition of that. For me, it was finding time to volunteer." Please join me in thanking Bill for his many years of incredible volunteer service and congratulating him on winning the Outstanding Specialized Recreation Volunteer of the Year.
The Outstanding Volunteer Group Award is presented to a group that contributes time and talents to enhance our city of Raleigh Parks. I'd like to invite Beverly Clark to come forward and present this award.
Thank you. Greetings. It is my honor to recognize the outstanding volunteer group, the Millbrook High School FCCLA. And what does FCCLA stand for? Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. But leaders, young leaders need guiding leaders, and their advisor is Ms. Lisa Elstrom. Eight years ago, she reached out to the Parks Department to inquire about an opportunity for her students to volunteer at the Pullen Park Holiday Express. From a handful of students the very first year to a busload helping this past December. Almost 150 Millbrook High School students have volunteered over the years. These enthusiastic teenagers represent all that is good and inspiring about our young people. Volunteers are essential to make Holiday Express run. And on the night that the FCCLA students are working, the Pullen Park staff know that they will have an energetic crew. Not only does Ms. Elstrom recruit her students and handle all the logistics of getting them to Pullen Park, but she also volunteers alongside them. Our schools are lucky to have teachers like Lisa Elstrom, and our community is blessed to have students who give back, like the students in the Millbrook FCCLA. Leaders all around. Congratulations to the outstanding volunteer group. That's good. Yeah, we're good.
Our first Outstanding Project Volunteer Award is presented to a group or individual who has shared their time and effort toward the enhancement of our parks through a specific project. Will Bob Edgerton come forward to present this award?
There's some real research here. First of all, it is with great pleasure I announce tonight's Project Volunteer Award recipient is Angela White. Please come forward. Now, Angela is an accomplished and energetic deadheader. Now, this is at the Raleigh Little Theater, Rose Garden. And my first thought when I read that was, deadheader? It kind of brought to mind that maybe they were following some heavy metal rock band. But maybe so. As it turned out, she is a skilled person at pruning rose bushes and taming them back into exquisite results. I met with Angela in the Raleigh Little Theater, Rose Garden, where she showed me what she and other dedicated volunteers have been doing. It is beautiful and a peaceful place. If you've never been there to the historic Rose Garden, I suggest you make a trip. It's a little hard to find, Oberlin Road, that area, but it will Google, I promise you. I recommend a visit. It's coming into bloom now, I understand, and it's time to go. Energetic and involved volunteers like Angela have served our community there for many years, and it's a very high level of productivity and beauty that they have there. It's a peaceful place. She is truly deserving. Thank you very much, Angela.
The next award, Outstanding Park Volunteer, is presented to a group or individual that's consistently demonstrated devotion to the care or enhancement of a city park. This award will be presented by Shang-Wen Liu. Robert Clark could not be in attendance tonight, so accepting the award on his behalf will be Jamie Quinn, who is the director of Marsh Creek Community Center.
Good evening, everyone. It is with great pleasure to present the Outstanding Park Volunteer Award. This award recognizes individuals who embody the spirit of volunteerism and contribute to the enhancement of the parks. Tonight, we honor a truly remarkable individual whose tireless efforts made an indelible impact on the Marsh Creek Park community. It is my privilege to present the recipient of this year's Outstanding Park Volunteer Award, Mr. Robert Clark. Robert has demonstrated outstanding dedication and initiatives in his work. He has worked tirelessly to lead the cleanup efforts, has encouraged all park users to take pride in their place and treat it with the respect it deserves. His creation of the group Courseworth keeps the memories of his friend alive is a testament to his commitment to the unity of the skate family. Robert's dedication, passion, and hard work have made a long-lasting impact on the park and the community. Though circumstances prevent him to being with us tonight, please join with me to extend our warmest wishes and deepest gratitude to him. And thank you, Jamie, for accepting this award on his behalf, and thank you for all your support ever since. Thank you.
I love hearing those stories. It is absolutely amazing. I've done this a number of times, and I'm always blown away by the stories of what you all do out there for our community. The next award is for the Outstanding Program Volunteer. This is presented to an individual who shares time, talents, and resources toward the enhancement of a specific program. Will Marcia Presnell Jeanette come forward to present this award?
It is certainly a delight to honor Richard Bostic for his work in receiving that, thank you, Outstanding Program Volunteer. Richard has earned this award for his many years of actively supporting our parks. Richard has served 2 different 6-year terms as a member of the Parks, Recreation, and Greenway Advisory Board. He is a longtime volunteer for all kinds of hands-on park projects. You name it, he's probably done it when it comes to keeping our greenways safe and tidy. He's known, people say they see Richard out picking up trash along greenway corridors. He likes working with other volunteers on trail maintenance and spreading mulch in the Rose Garden and Pullen Park. He tells me he also likes being part of volunteering with teams in the national parks. So Raleigh's not enough. He's regularly joins trail maintenance crews on the Appalachian Trail and many other national trails across the U.S. Richard says he likes hiking these trails so much he feels a responsibility to help care for these treasures. Richard has worked on trails in 11 different states. In some of these states he's returned time and time again to help take care of the trails. He has the skills and experience to make the users of our greenways and trails have safe and enjoyable hikes. Richard is leaving some mighty big footprints to be filled as he and his wife Pam relocate to Charlotte. Okay, folks, any of you ready to step up and take Richard's this vacancy he's leaving? It is fitting he's being honored for his volunteer work on Raleigh's Parks. He's been a reliable volunteer in Raleigh's Parks for 23 years. Richard and I initially met each other when we were both on the Parks and Recreation and Greenway Advisory Board in the 90s. And he's done it twice, 2 6-year terms. Thank you, Richard, for your gift of time and friendly attention to make Raleigh's Parks the special places that they are.
No, Richard, don't go. You will be missed, that is for sure. The Outstanding Teen Volunteer is presented to a teen that demonstrates a high degree of commitment to a program, event, or park. I'd like to invite April Love to come forward to present this award.
I'm a little taller than usual. All right. It is my honor. Let me start over. Let me say to everyone, to all the volunteers, we're super excited and thank you so much. But as a Wake County public school teacher forever, young people are dear to my heart. So I want to make sure for Millbrook, you're awesome. Continue to set the world on fire. And now it is my honor to introduce you to Cordelia McKelvey. Come on down. This is better than The Price is Right. Come on down. I am elated and honored to introduce to you our 2023 Outstanding Teen Volunteer, Miss Cordelia McKelvey. This fabulous, civic-minded young woman currently serves as the Community Service Chair for the Raleigh Youth Council. She is a living testament to the quote from Margaret Mead, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world, because indeed it is the only thing that ever has." Miss McKelvey is passionate about leaving places and people better than she found them. Her passion is a driving force that has increased participation at all of the service events for the Raleigh Youth Council. Cordelia hopes to attend NC State and major in biomedical engineering, and I have no doubt she will also set the world on fire there also. She is the highlight of the monthly board meetings when she enthusiastically reports out on all the activities that the RYC is planning, and all of us behind you are invited to every event. She gives the date, the time, and the place right on the spot, letting us know that we are welcome and her fire is infectious. We are all invited, and we usually show up because she's just such a bright light. She is a bright light in our city of Oaks, and it is a pleasure to see her enthusiasm for service. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you our 2023 2023 Outstanding Teen Volunteer of the Year, Miss Cordelia McDowell.
Our next award is Outstanding Cultural Resources Volunteer. This award is presented to an individual or group who has consistently demonstrated devotion toward the enhancement of historic resources, arts, cultural, and/or diversity programs. Lindy Saunders, come forward to present this award.
This is no ordinary group of artists I'm about to tell you about. The Sertoma Park Artists Association, or SPA, defines themselves as a vibrant, creative group committed to refining member skills and aesthetic growth while engaging public awareness and participating in the city's goal to become the Southeast destination for the arts. The group was founded in 1979, and they have a special agreement that has been going on for quite some time. If you did the math, that's 44 years. These artists do all kinds of art, as pastels, watercolor, oil, acrylic, colored pencil, collages, many more different mediums. People who are a part of SPA have all different levels of expertise. Some of them have always been into art, and some of them were always interested, but waited until they retired to discover their artistic skill, passion, and community. They give back to Sertoma by cleaning the studios, helping with city-sponsored events, hosting artist receptions and sidewalk sales that benefit the Art Center, gardening, and volunteering to teach classes. They volunteer for different reasons. Lloyd said it keeps her on track, and it's better to have something to work on. Pauline said it's important to her and many others, a real refuge, and if they didn't have each other, they wouldn't get as much done. The community artists in the Sertoma Park Arts Association brings people together. But people really languished, as we know, lost their art and their inspiration when they had to stay apart during COVID. People who get to know each other through SPA's Thursday meetings look out for one another. They've gotten to know the supportive and helpful center staff. They celebrate birthdays, have potlucks, and go on field trips. It's not just art, it's a community. A wonderful oasis, and we all need more of that. Thank you to the Sertoma Park Artists Association for creating such an inspirational art community for Raleigh.
We're down to the final award of the evening. It is the Award of Excellence. It's presented to a person or group who exhibits the best example of volunteer action to improve the quality of service and facilities of the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Department. Contributions of this volunteer have a continuing impact on the quality of services offered by the parks. Well, Rashawn King, please come up to deliver this award.
All right, good evening, everybody. I could be louder than that. Good evening. All right, that's what I'm talking about. All right, they say the best for last, so I promise I won't be here that long. All right. Good evening. My name is Rashawn King. I hope you all are having a great evening. This evening I will be presenting the Award of Excellence to a phenomenal woman. This woman receiving this award has a resume of volunteer service that will blow your mind away. She is literally the epitome of perfection in regards to volunteering. She is incredibly active with the department and has attended over 45 volunteer events since 2016. She has logged over 140 hours of volunteer services within the past 6 years. She has attended a variety of volunteer events such as pinwheel in the park, hurricane cleanups, 5K races, swim meets, plantings, litter cleanups, invasive species removals, and many more. What sets her apart from other volunteers is her work ethic, passion, dedication, and volunteerism with others. She always makes sure that her kids attend the volunteer events with her, and she's always sharing her knowledge with those that volunteer as well. She dedicates the rest of her time volunteering as a swim coach and soccer coach. She volunteers for senior games. She volunteers for Special Olympics. And she went to Peace Corps in Kenya for almost 4 years. How cool is that? But the volunteer service to me that outweighs them all is the fact that she puts all her energy, all her time in her neighborhood and celebrating birthdays for those that she cherishes the most and for the people within her community. I mean, she just sounds a little too cool for school for me, so I don't know. I'm just amazed by all the work that she has done, and it shows through her personality, it shows through her family, and most importantly, it shows through her volunteering and the time that she dedicates with the City of Raleigh Parks and Recreation. It is an honor, and I mean it is an honor to present this award of excellence to Ms. Michi Voita.
That was amazing. It is so inspirational to listen to everyone's incredible stories, all the hours, the dedication. You all are amazing. Thank you so much for being here. We're not done yet. I want to introduce you to Stephen Bentley, who's the director of Raleigh Parks Recreation and Cultural Resources, to provide our closing remarks. Stephen.
We do have dessert, and I'm not going to stand in the way. Good evening, everybody. On behalf of the Raleigh Parks Recreation and Cultural Resources Department, I want to thank all of our volunteers. You truly are the strength of our department. As Elizabeth indicated earlier, we have over 10,000 volunteers tonight, and tonight we celebrate you. We celebrate and thank you for your tireless efforts, your generous hearts, and your unwavering dedication to make Raleigh a better place. You truly embody the determination of volunteerism, and we're proud and honored to celebrate you this evening. You and your peers serve the community in so many ways, from teens to individuals with special needs, to our active adult populations, to cleaning up our parks, to helping with park construction. So a multitude of ways. But what you all have in common is big hearts, the love of building community, the love of outdoors, and overall, helping people. We're a much better department, and we're a much better organization as a city, but we're a much better community as a result of your time. I'd also want to share in the thanks to our board members, just to remind you they're also volunteers. They spend countless hours on committees and projects and board meetings, so I want to thank them. I also want to thank Elizabeth Gardner and Bill Fletcher for taking the time out of their busy schedules, because Elizabeth probably got to get up in like 2 hours. So thank you for your leadership this evening and your leadership in the community. I also want to thank the great leadership within the city of Raleigh, our Deputy City Manager, who is here today, Tansy Hayward, Mayor Pro Tem Branch, who is with us this evening, Councilmember Jones, who is also on the Parks Board before Council, and Councilmember Patton, who's also the Park Board Liaison. And if there's any other elected officials, could you please raise your hand? Do not see any, but I can't see because of the light anyway. So finally, I want to take a moment of liberty to thank our staff. I really have the opportunity and the honor to be the director, but they really get the work done. We have the best of the best in the city. I'm fortunate to have peers across the country, and I would put our Parks Department up against anybody in the United States. I want to thank our Parks Division and our horticulturalist team. Please give a round of applause. Look, we brought in trees, which is pretty amazing. And I want to send a heartfelt and warm thanks to Mary, Rachel, and Olinda, who put this event on. They are our volunteer services program staff. If you could please raise your hand. Hopefully you are in the room. And I'll end the night with a quote that's been shared by the previous directors here for over 10 years. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life off what we give. So thank you for giving to the city of Raleigh. Thank you for giving to our community, and have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, for being such a wonderful leader. We're so excited to have you as the fairly new director of Raleigh Parks and Recreation. Congratulations again to everyone who is here, all the nominees, all the award winners. Again, we appreciate you so much. You make Raleigh great. You make our parks great. You make after work great. You make the weekends great. We really appreciate everything that you do. And thank you for carrying on the spirit of Fred Fletcher. That's very special to so many of us. All right, a couple of more things that we have to talk about. Thank you to Raleigh Television Network Cable Channel 11 for recording tonight's program. And you will be able to see or record that program. Just consult the RTN website next Monday. And, of course, the best thing of the night. It's time for dessert. Thank you all so much for being here.